what I really identify with from Marc. And I've been big on social media. Obviously I have a podcast, I've been posting on Instagram for a while, I've gone through every different level of trying to do it and doing it and posting, and I've had seasons where I've been more with it and less. But what I noticed from your social media, especially over the past years, you really dove into creating really good organic content. It's one thing to create content. We could cut clips from this podcast and post them all day, and that's a great thing to do. I'm not discouraging people to do that. But what I noticed that you're doing is you're creating organic content, like the one from Halloween. And if you don't follow Marc and you're listening to this, I highly recommend you follow him on Instagram right now. He'll give you his tag. And see what I'm talking about. But what is it? What's the process there to come up with this organic content? Because that's what's engaging in 2020.
Yeah.
People want to see that stuff.
So I'll even dial it back before that. I was doing the same thing that everybody else was doing, right? Posting listings or posting motivational quotes, posting, sold stats or whatever. Nobody looks at it. That's what I learned from that whole process. I spent a lot of money to learn that nobody looks at it. It does generate some leads. The leads are crap, to be honest. So it was a learning lesson. Fast forward to 2023, I knew I needed to change what I was doing, how I was doing it, how I was coming across to people, and I looked to partner with somebody in social media content creation that was going to help me to do that. And then me together with this individual, we've gone out and we've brainstormed a whole bunch of different ideas, and that's come to where we are with this stuff today. He supports the vision. I have no clue how to edit. I don't know how to put the fancy stuff on the green screen. I can't do any of that.
Yeah.
But I have ideas, right? I'm on social media. You're scrolling through it all day and you're seeing all of these people put this stuff out there. I'm far from Mr. Beast, but my concept was to create this content and make it about real estate.
And what does that brainstorming process kind of look like? And I think you just touched on it a little bit, saying, hey, I'm picking up pieces from what other people are posting, coming up with these ideas. But what is that brainstorming? When you and this, creative support person sit together, what are you guys doing that's building that idea, so someone can get into that zone right now? I want to get the listener into that environment.
Yeah. So. It usually will start with a conversation. It just will build into what can we make. I like to do some funny content. Not everybody is about that. A lot of people will create the content and they want it to be serious, and there's nothing wrong with that. If anybody that knows me personally, I
can only think about you doing the gym, getting ready. There's a video he has. If you haven't seen, you got to watch it. How real estate agents are getting ready for the new year. There's a guy in the gym, he's pulling it up
There's a business card in there.
It's so good. It's so good.
And anybody that knows me personally, I'm a bit of a goofy guy. I like to joke around, and I try to relay that in the content that I create. Now, it can't all be that. I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast, a funny meme account or anything like that. I think there needs to be some serious undertones with it as well. But I like to be funny with the videos, and I think that resonates with a lot of people, because the videos that have done well, even the Halloween video, for example, right? It's showcasing the kids and kicking over the sign and doing all that stuff, right? It's funny. It lets people detach from the boring stuff that they're scrolling through on Instagram. Sometimes they get a quick laugh out of it, and the long-term picture of it is that they resonate with it. They start to follow me. They eventually turn into a client. It has happened where I have been engaged by people. The DMs are a beautiful thing. So how that leads into business is on my shoulders, because then they become a lead at that point.
Yeah.
But it's just another avenue to advertise, to promote yourself, and to get additional people looking at you. That's the bigger picture at the end of the day.
And I think a unique thing that's starting to happen, especially with real estate content creators, is there's a subculture actually being built. I'm starting to notice now, other agents that create content are posting videos of other agents that they think nailed the video of the week. Everyone, everyone's so creative. Real estate agents, it's fun. I think, in an industry where like I said, there's peaks and valleys, and we're working so hard, and there's tough parts of it, and we're very serious, and we have to be, and we are. We're not going to make a mistake when we're dealing with your $6 million house. but we still are people. We still want to laugh and have a good time at work. And I think that brings it in, and that subculture that's being created is actually something that's really unique.
Yeah. So
like your lawyers are not doing that.
No. You touched on it on a previous pod where there's something like 80,000 agents in Ontario right now.
I think it's somewhere between 60 to 80.
Yeah, right. The group that actually, like, you see the same names over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
The group that actually works, what was it, 0.1%?
Exactly.
Do more than 30 deals.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same people over and over again. And even with the content creation, it's an even smaller group. So we all, I think, kind of recognize and see who each other are.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail right on the head. There is definitely a subculture, and people are talking in the background to see how they can collaborate and get more exposure for their own content.
Love that. And you were saying, like, in the DM, so, like, can you talk a little bit about how creating content has converted into business for you? Like, have you done deals from Instagram?
So yes and no. It was from a friend, but I got the deal essentially because they had been seeing my content.
Well, that's a deal from Instagram.
Fair.
That, in my opinion, I know where you're going. That's a deal from Instagram. You were top of mind with somebody, and they referred you to a friend?
No, they did the deal themselves. They bought a $3 million property.
And that happens from posting on Instagram.
Yeah. Even more fun fact, his dad's a real estate agent.
It's incredible.
So I was extremely grateful. I did ask the question, I'm like, what did I do to get so lucky? But they basically said, like, we really like what you're doing out there. We know that you're hustling at your job, and let's give it a shot. Let's see where it goes. And that led to a sale.
I guess he resonated with you as a person. He saw the real you. And I think, 4 years ago, the definition of success when running ads, I think at that point looked like, or posting on Instagram was like, hey, I got a new person that I've never spoken to messaging me on Instagram to buy or sell us. And I've had that before, definitely. But I think as the way people engage with social media has progressed over the past couple of years, at one point, obviously, if you have 50,000 followers, new people are going to start messaging you. But when you're in a realm of anywhere between, let's call it 800 to 3,000 followers, which I would assume is a pretty average sample size for the most agents out there, followers, the person that you went to high school with, that like you haven't seen in 9 years, that's following you on Instagram, if they buy a house from you and they message you on Instagram, like that's a successful lead from Instagram, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's what happens more often than not recently, right? Like,
I think people are watching, even when you think that they're not. They are watching your stuff, and it becomes more evident. Like, I've gone out and just like you said, right? Like, you've seen some of those videos. Like, strangers have come up to me and said, I saw your video, it was absolutely hysterical.
Exactly. I actually learned that part of it recently from when I really started heavily posting about my son. Because random people will be like, oh, I follow everything your son does on Instagram. I'm like, well, my son doesn't have Instagram. That means you're either following me or my wife, and I know you're not following my wife, so that means you're following me, and you've never commented on anything, never liked anything, but now I know that you're watching, and it happens to me all the time.
You're personable, right?
Yeah.
And it comes across like it's genuine. Exactly. It's genuine, and that's important with people.
And blending that ratio in, like having that personal side, the business side. Because I know now, if I'm posting all these videos about my son and they're loving and watching it, and then I hit you with like, I got this listing in Yorkville for $2 million and it's fully furnished investment property, you're going to see that video as well.
So this is also why I only have one account. A lot of people
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of people at the beginning, and I did my own research on this, but why don't you have a business account? You don't need one.
No way.
My life is about my business, so why not blend the two together and showcase both?
I am 1000% behind you. I've been saying it since the beginning. In any trainings that I've ever done, that's exactly the road that I've gone down. Is you're not two different people. You're one person, and you got to show that out. You don't like people seeing you partying in Miami at 4 a.m, then maybe you shouldn't be posting that on social media. Or maybe you embrace that's who you are, and there's a different clientele out there that's going to resonate with you on that situation.
There's a close friends list for a reason.
Exactly. That's a beautiful feature. All right, let's shift gears from social media content a little bit, and let's talk about, you were very successful